Well, welcome back. Time now 6:20. It's Wednesday, and that means another edition of Pet Talk. So joining me now is Dr. Jen Klabundy, and today we're kind of talking about something that is sad, but you have to go through at some point when you own a pet.
Right, it's inevitable, it's part of the process, but it doesn't make it any easier.
Of course, we're talking about losing a pet and how to know when it's time. So maybe you have an older pet that's gotten sick, or even a younger pet that is just also fallen ill. So how do you know
Right.
when to...
You know, and this varies because every pet has a different condition that leads them to the end of their life, but chronic diseases, osteoarthritis, that just make it painful to get up and move around, tumors, cancer. Also, it's time to put them down if you're going through a grueling process like chemotherapy or radiation and you're just not seeing benefits. So, there are lots of reasons to put down a pet, but what I tell people, and I get this question all the time, is, how do I know that it's time? And it's when the quality of life just isn't there anymore. When your pet doesn't want to get up and play and greet you, they're not attentive to your affection, or just not wanting to eat or drink anymore. These are all signs that probably, it's time to look into euthanasia.
So if you've come to that point and you know that it's time, what's the process like for people who've maybe never been through it before?
Yeah, and a lot of people haven't been through it, at least with modern medicine nowadays. They might have been through it 15 years ago, but things were different. Now, I can only speak for myself, but at our hospital, we put the patient to sleep first. So they just fall asleep, they're sedated, it does not hurt, they're not feeling any pain. When they're fully comfortable and fully asleep, we give them a second shot, and that stops their heart. But there's no pain involved. It's actually a very, very peaceful process.
It's good to know that your pet, the last few days they're going to be put down and it won't hurt at all.
Right, and this is really, people struggle with it. I struggle with it. I had to put my dog to sleep last week. And,
I'm sorry.
Well, it's part of the process, and it's our last gift of love that we can show them, not making them suffer anymore or go through things that they don't necessarily have to go through anymore. And so once I tell people that, they have an easier time with it, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. And what about afterwards? Now that your pet's life has ended, what's the next step?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know where to go. What are my options? What do I do? And there are several options. You can always take your pet home and bury them, which a lot of people want to do. If you don't want to do that, we offer cremation services, and you can have your pet cremated and choose not to get the ashes back, or you could choose to get the ashes back. And this is nice if you live in an apartment. If you rent somewhere and you can't bury your pet, you can always have the ashes. You can scatter them in a nice spot. You can bury those. There are lots of options for you.
Definitely, so you can have some options there for those pets. Of course, it's always awful to lose a pet, but good to know that they're onto a better place, and of course, no pain was involved.
Right.
So
right.
Thank you for joining me this morning,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Jen Klabundy. Part one of our two-part Pet Talk today on Wednesday. So let's check in again with meteorologist Joe Charlebois.